So you want to start a podcast and you're thinking of starting a show. You start to think, well, what type of show am I going to create? And it's like, hold on a sec. Hold up. You don't need to figure all that out just yet. What you need to focus on is the why. Is going to incredibly dictate the type of show you need to focus on creating. Then you'll know the style, then you'll know how long it should be, then you'll know how to publish it, then the marketing. All of that falls into place when you understand why. On my walk, I was thinking that there's really two types of podcasts when you think what a podcast is. And the direction you're going to go with the podcast really has to come from like the beginning stage. Are you trying to reach a specific group of people and kind of cultivate relationships around that? That's a guest-based show. Or are you trying to reach the widest possible audience? You're going to do much better on a solo cast mission for your show. I think there can be hybrids, but the research is really clear. If you're going to reach a wide audience, it's got to be you looking at the camera. But that's not the real strategy for everybody. If you're an organization and you're trying to cultivate members, you're trying to make sure your donors, your donor class, and you want to make sure you celebrate the relationship you have with them. That is an excellent tool, making a guest-based show, because you are bringing them in and you're having this conversation that you can record and then repurpose to that community. That's a strategy associated with those membership, donor, charity-based groups. For an individual, if you're just trying to break into a market, a club, some club that no one knows you, and you're trying to like figure out your way, how can I provide value? Guest-based show will do that. Why are we doing this thing? What are we trying to achieve? Very specifically, you have to define that. Everybody's different, but if you don't have that clearly defined, you're going to struggle, wavering in between. Now, most people want to do the Joe Rogan experience thing. They want to create awesome podcasts, bring lots of interesting guests, and I get that. But you're not Joe Rogan, right? You're not already a celebrity. There's that strategy of like, there's the solo casting, that'll get you the real views. But that doesn't mean that a show that doesn't have a lot of views is not supremely useful. I'll give you an example. There was a business owner that had sold a company. Part of the agreement is that he had a non-compete for about 2 years. He couldn't establish another competitive business in that marketplace because he sold the company to new owners. But 2 years is a long time to stay out of the action. What could you do? A guest-based show is an excellent way to cultivate and maintain and be in the community without running afoul of your agreement of establishing a competitive organization. You're just talking, and you spend those 2 years making those connections. And now when you're ready to come back into the marketplace with your new business or something, you have that audience. But the guests are the audience. If you're starting from zero and you want to get a wide audience, it's going to have to be the solo casting route for quite a while. That doesn't mean you can't have guests to come in every once in a while, special guests. You want to start a podcast, right? You immediately are faced with the daunting decision. Do we do audio only or do we do video? Maybe 10 years ago, audio only would have been good. It's cheaper. You don't have to worry about makeup, outfits. Video seems more daunting. Video requires like camera, maybe 2 extra lights. Now we gotta look good. 10 years ago, I would have said start with the audio, but we don't live in that world anymore. You really should probably put your effort in video. And let me explain why. 30% of Americans consume audio-only content. Maybe it's up to 40%, something pretty high, but it's audio only. They're already doing something. They're like exercising, they're cleaning their house, and they're connected to a couple of voices that just really ring them true, right? Everybody has 2 or 3 of their favorite podcasts that they kind of go back to all the time. The research is really clear there in terms of how to market an audio-only podcast. It's simple. It's whatever dollars, effort you can spend just getting on other podcasts. If you're a guest-based show and you're mostly the guy asking all the questions, that's fine. But then where is the strong point of view from you? that somebody else on another show would want to know about you, right? Would want to interview you. The game that's played in the audio only world is celebrities talking to other celebrities. They go on each other's podcasts. They have a great time. They're already established, known fan bases. It's exciting for a fan that you're following one personality and they're going to go on another show, and people that listen to that other show be like, oh, who's this voice? That's the game that's played there. Everybody else, including us, starting out, it's not a good start. At the video level, it's something like 85% of Americans consume video. I mean, that's everybody, right? That's everybody. And part of the reason why it's such a high consumption rate on the video side is because it's a good discovery tool. There's a visual component. You're done with the video you watch, and the algorithms are going to suggest next content. So if you're starting out a show and you want to do a podcast, get into video. Do the video podcast well. The audio will be there for your fans as you generate the views. There's a lot more to this world, but audio versus video. And we'll put out some more stuff pretty soon about that. Let me touch on length. The length of an episode is a rich conversation to have. We'll talk about length in another episode. Let's just summarize it simply. If we're going into a video podcast, if you want to be effective, shorter is better, especially if you're reaching a wide audience, but it's also if you're trying to make a good guest-based show. Everybody wants to have those hour-long, deep, rich conversations. You can make it as long as you want, but when you're starting out your show, you got to stick the landing, and you got to stick the landing pretty quick. Don't waste too much time thinking about it. It has to be 20 minutes or it has to be 30 minutes. Think about sticking the landing. That type of material does better. So figure out the why, and everything else falls into place when you can answer that singular question. We'll have more videos to help you get through the noise. Subscribe.